Hello everyone, welcome to a new Minecraft Hundreds video. In today's video, we'll be explaining some of the daily trials that you will encounter weekly or maybe monthly, sometimes even daily. So ones you're probably gonna encounter a lot are these ones. Wait, no, is that the right one? No, it's not. Where is it? This one right here. This one here, you'll see the player health decrease by 70%. If you have a armor with Reckless, please do not use it during this mission or your mission will fail very fast and very easily. Now, this one is very, very easy to do. As you can see, the witches, like, who cares about witches? They're pretty easy to freaking kill. But when you're, like, dealing with a witch mission or a mission that decreases your health by 70%, you're going to want a weapon with a lot, and what I mean a lot of radiance, like mine here. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 radiance. You're going to want to have 3 radiance. Now when you get 3 radiance on a weapon, or maybe double, who knows, those could both work, you can pick a mission, any mission that you really feel. Recommended to have the Death Cat mushroom. These two don't really matter during the mission, but they will be useful. So first of all, we're just gonna quickly do this mission, see what armor we get, and if we get good armor, it doesn't even matter what armor you get, honestly. Like, it doesn't even matter what armor you have. If it doesn't even matter what armor you have, it's like, I recommend any armor with protection on it, or like any form of like just damage reduction altogether is insanely good with radiance. And artifact cooldown is insanely, like, what I mean insanely, like mega good when you're trying to do a mission, or when you're trying to do a daily trial. They're also really good when you're trying to hunt for villager raid captains. Or if you get lucky, maybe you'll get like a really good armor in the tower, and maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get a armor with protection. If you get an armor with protection, I recommend using that for most of the time, because that will probably be very useful during the whole entire, tower. Now there is also something you could do to counter any damage, really, which is the heart. I think it's where, like, I forget what it's called, but it's an artifact, and it allows you to exactly tame really buff mobs, or any mob you really feel. I recommend doing that in really big crowds. And, like, because when you're in really big crowds, there's always that, like, one tanky thing. And, like, if you just go right up to the tanky thing, it has, like, almost, like, I think it's a 75% chance of re-stabilizing, or, like, making the thing not evil. Like a brute. Skeleton brute, pillager brute, zombie brute. It don't matter. Just has to be a brute. If it's not a brute, then you might fail, honestly. Brutes are very good to have next to you. Friend, foe, or anything, you just want a brute. Bosses are really easy to take down when you have a crap ton of radiance on your side. When you have 3 radiance on your side and you're fighting a boss, it is extremely easy to take down that boss. Now, remember, this boss, radiance isn't really that effective against a couple bosses, like the Ghast. I think it was the Monstrosity. The Monstrosity could basically just one-shot you, and, well, it won't be useful. And the Redstone Golem. And the final boss. That's the two ones that you might not want to have double radiance. You might want to have Void Strike on your bow when you're trying to do it. Void Strike adds extra damage, which will make you a human fucking brute. Or, as I like to call it, a sweat from COD. That's just what I like to call it, but you can call it whatever you want. Anyhow, if you want to name it, you can call it anything you really want. I prefer calling it Sweat COD, but Void Strike, and you might want a motor bow, like a motor bow or a rapid fire bow. I forget what the unique for it is called. I think it's called a motor bow, if I'm correct. Correct me in the comments if you can, or if anyone even watches. Please correct me in the comments and tell me what it's actually named, if you do know its name. But anyways, you're just gonna want a lot of good gear for certain bosses, but if you're like trying to defeat the Cauldron boss, you're gonna want what I used personally was the Deathcat Mushroom, and I think, if I can recall, I think it was the Cursed Axe or the Wind Axe I used with it. But anywho, that's mainly what I used to fight it, not what I would have used. What I would have used is definitely the Burning Robe, the Ember Robe. That's something that might be wanted in that mission. In that mission, that's probably something you might want, or might need to get for that mission. The Ember Robe will help you during that mission, and it helps you gradually. Now remember, if you are fighting a Pillager Raid Captain, you want to remember that these guys are very tanky and are almost like little mini bosses, just like redstone golems. They're equally as dangerous. Let's remember that. They're equally as dangerous as them because they spawn in a lot. Another really, really good armor to have is the goat armor, because I'm doing this mission for the goat armor, because the goat armor gives you artifact cooldown reduction, which that makes it so, well, your Deathcat Mushroom can restore pretty fast. It's also very good to hunt for Pillager Raid Captains during daily trials, because it does increase your chance of like getting an overpowered unique, or like anything really. Overpowered rare, overpowered unique, you name it. But anyways, those are mainly the items you're gonna want for fighting any boss. Now, the boss I'm gonna teach you about is probably, let's see here, what is a really hard boss to complete that you guys probably haven't even will want to defeat when you are getting to plus 25? What I recommend to go first is the the Mushroom Monstrosity. The Mushroom Monstrosity is a secret, very secret boss that is very, very hard to kill. And basically like everything in there is like horrifying. There's cows that you'll have to defeat during the boss fight and out through the whole entire, well, dungeon. Well, the whole mushroom kingdom, I would call it. Or mushroom element. Anyways, let me get to the point. The mushroom boss is possibly one of the hardest, if not the hardest boss. Particularly because its minions are stronger than the redstone cubes. And if you're like me and you know how strong those redstone cubes are, then you're probably horrified. Those are maybe, if not, the hardest to kill. Ever since the redstone I'm gonna shoot myself. Ever since mushrooms have appeared in the game, the redstone cubes have literally gone down once in some of the most powerful creatures in the game. Obviously, the other ones being the guys who throw you up in the air and more. Also, it is noted that the redstone golem does count as one, so we're gonna count it. Now remember, threat isn't that threatening. I don't think it is, at least. I don't know what threat does, but it's not that hard to get rid of. It's not that hard to over-counter. Bow Radiance isn't the best enchantment to have on your bow, but it's one of the ones that you're gonna want if you're fighting the Mushroom Monstrosity or Redstone Golem, because they're basically the same, except the Redstone Monstrosity has a little extra HP and a little extra range. But the range is very easy to dodge if you're far away from it, obviously. Also, it is noted that the ancient hunts are something that you might want to try out. The ancient hunts can give you gilded gear, which can give you quadruple radiance if you're really in that mood to get quadruple radiance. Remember, if you are trying to defeat the Mushroom Monstrosity, it is recommended to have pets. Pets, particularly iron golems, 3 iron golems, or maybe 2 if you don't have that many, is probably your best option to fight it. Since it only has around, I think, 1 billion health on plus 25, it isn't really that hard of a boss to eliminate, I would call it. Yeah, let's just call it eliminate. It's a very hard boss to eliminate, and if you're trying to go for an easy boss, maybe go for it last, not first, if you're trying to get to plus 25. Trying to get the plus 25, the recommended is probably the Cauldron if you have the right setup, or the Redstone Golem. The Redstone Golem does count as boss, so yes. Pumpkin Pasture's boss, and a couple others. One of those being the, I think it's the jungle. I think it's a jungle monster. Is it a jungle monstrosity? Please correct me in the comments if it's a jungle monstrosity. I forget, but I don't know why there's so many goddamn monstrosities in the game. I guess the game was just a massive failure. Just kidding. No, it was amazing. Anywho. now we're gonna talk about the Pumpkin Pastures boss. I don't even need to explain myself. You just have to have any gear with any gear and any weapon, unless it has Reckless. Then you can go f yourself, because no one uses Reckless. If you use Reckless, you have no idea what you're doing and no sense in your mind. I'm sorry if anyone out there uses Reckless, but Reckless kind of sucks unless you have protection at all. Look, the only armor that's acceptable to have Radiance on is definitely the Renegade, because the Renegade doesn't give you have like a reduction damage that has on it, so you kind of just take reduction damage, and that's why you probably want Reckless. Now, as you can see here, 1 second. Oh, yes. I'll show you here. Protection minus 15 damage taken, which is very, very, very good. Now remember, you might, if you're feeling like you don't need anyone on your team or you're trying to play solo, you're gonna want double protection. So you're gonna want an Iron Golem. Golems are gonna help you they're gonna take all the damage. Now remember, they can be lowest. I'm a friend with like a really low power level Iron Golem, and his is still really overpowered. I'm not gonna say his name because you guys have already met him, but yeah. And please do not spam at him. He would not like that. He is not one to like to be spammed. Like some other people. Some other people are really weird and like to be spammed. You've gotta be goddamn kidding me. Did I just pass through it? I passed through it. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Now just enjoy the video as it goes on. I figured out its name. It's called the auto crossbow. Usually you can just kind of pass through it. You got it. I'm kidding. And everyone, that is how you complete a daily trial with ease. I'll see you guys maybe another time.